Welcome to this edition of Inside Track. I'm Kay Christ.
And I'm Art Fox. This month, Inside Track features your 1992 Geo Storm and shows how you can sell effectively against some of the top contenders in this very hot market. Toyota Paseo, Mazda MX-3, and the Mitsubishi Eclipse.
You'll meet people at Chevrolet Geo, Storm owners, and successful salespeople who demonstrate Storm's key features and benefits and point out some significant advantages.
And then, to fill you in on just how the competition sells against Storm, Kay and I will take you into Toyota and Mitsubishi dealerships.
And for our story on quality, safety, and technology, we'll be changing gears just a bit. This month, Inside Track focuses on your Chevrolet Lumina APV. You'll visit the assembly plant in Tarrytown, New York to learn more about APV's leading-edge technology and discover some unique features that you can use to sell Lumina APV more effectively.
Now that's our lineup for this edition of Inside Track. Now let's get things started with headlines in the news.
Mark your calendars for May 24th. It's the Indy 500, and the Chevrolet V8 engine is going for its 5th straight Indianapolis win.
Once again this year, the competition is really hot, and for the first time in 20 years, Ford is a contender.
Ford really has its work cut out. In the first Indy car race this season, the Penske team debuted Chevrolet's new V8B engine and finished first and second, just 256 days after the blueprints for the new engine were begun. That's the first time in modern racing history that a new engine design won in its very first race.
And in the two IndyCar races that followed, Chevrolet's old V8A engine beat Ford hands down.
No doubt this year's Indy 500 will be exciting from the pace lap to the checkered flag, so be sure to tune in.
In news from Inside Track, first, many of you have asked for smaller pocket cards. This month, you've got them. While the cards still provide key competitive information, they are now an even more convenient size.
A great place to keep all your pocket cards is the front pocket of your selling guide. That way, any information you need is always right at your fingertips.
Prizes in the first Inside Track giveaway went to 200 sales managers and the top-selling Prism salespeople in their dealerships. A choice of a compact disc or 2 audio cassettes was awarded to people like Ronald Patton, manager of Browerman Chevrolet in Poseyville, Indiana, and Bob Lowe, sales manager, Champion Chevrolet Geo, Manhattan Beach, California.
And the grand prize, a Sony 20-inch TV, was awarded to Kevin Gordon, sales manager at Mel Chevrolet Geo in Shelton, Washington.
Congratulations to all the winners. And be sure you're eligible for our next prize drawing. Send in your response card today with your ideas for future editions of Inside Track.
In other news, recent price increases announced by Japanese manufacturers mean you are now in an even better position to sell Chevrolet and Geo value. Look at how Toyota's recent price increase has improved Storm's position against the Paseo, particularly when you deduct our current incentive. And the story is even stronger for Metro versus Tercel and Corolla versus Prism.
It's a great opportunity for you to maximize your sales. Know what your competition has to offer and point out your product advantages. Take the time to demonstrate the features and benefits that mean the most to your customer.
Effectively selling quality, features, and benefits means knowing your products inside and out, knowing their safety, performance, appearance, comfort and convenience, and easy-to-own features. Let's take a look at your 1992 Geo Storm through space to learn more about just what you've got to offer. As you watch this segment, you can refer to your Storm pocket card to see how Storm matches up against its major competitor, the Toyota Paseo.
Okay, one of the features of standard equipment on the Geo Storm is the driver's side airbag. It lowers your insurance rates, and it's a feature that is not even offered on most of the Storm's competitors, such as the Toyota Paseo.
Let's look at the components of the airbag system. These are some of the main components. This is the airbag module itself, which is mounted to the steering wheel. The airbag module contains the materials necessary to provide the nitrogen gas which inflates the bag, and it also contains the bag itself. We also have 3 sensors. Each of the sensors consists of a metal ball which rides inside of a tube. There's a magnet at the back end of the tube that holds the ball in place. If the crash forces are strong enough so that the inertia of the ball overcomes the force of the magnet, then that ball can travel to the end of the tube and make the electrical contact. Actually, 2 of the 3 sensors have to close in order for the circuit to be completed. We mount the sensors in 3 locations. One of them is mounted at the front end of the vehicle in the crush zone. The other 2 sensors are mounted in the occupant compartment.
I was probably going about 60 miles an hour in the fast lane. When the car in front of me switched lanes, in a matter of split seconds came in contact with the full-size pickup, which was parked in the fast lane. I had no time to brake or change lanes. When I hit the pickup, I had forgotten all about the airbag, and I thought, this is it for me. Upon impact, I felt my face go into the airbag. We came to a stop. My Geo Storm was destroyed. I took off my seatbelt, got out of the car, and I couldn't find injuries of any kind. You know, I didn't even have a scratch. And so obviously there must have been some engineering designs, I think, that allowed those parts to break down where they didn't come into contact with my body.
Sophisticated computer analysis, as well as dozens of crash tests, are used in order to design that front-end crush. As a result, we end up with design features such as these crush initiators, which are located here on the lower frame rail, as well as here on the upper frame rail. The purpose of these crush initiators is to absorb the energy of the crash so that the deflection and the crush of the crash is limited to the front end of the vehicle, which helps keep the occupant compartment or the safety cage intact. Crush zones are also designed into the rear of the vehicle to provide similar protection in rear-end collisions.
A recent study by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety showed that the Storm did very well versus many of its competitors. For instance, the Storm sustained about $1,500 worth of damage in 5-mile-per-hour collisions to both the front and the rear. However, its competitors did much worse. The Paseo, for instance, sustained about $700 more damage, and the Mazda MX-3 was twice as bad.
Well, each of the pieces of the bumper system has its own functions. Here's the bumper fascia, which actually provides the appearance of the bumper and also provides some protection from the elements of weather. And then this is a foam filler panel, which can provide some energy absorption. But the major part of the bumper system is this substantial impact bar, which helps spread any low-speed collision loading across the whole back of the car and transmits those loads into these 2 energy absorbers, which actually stroke upon loading, which absorbs the energy from the low-speed collision.
Another safety feature inherent to the Geo Storm is the fully padded dash, which could help prevent serious injury in an accident.
The engine in the base Storm is a 1.6-liter single overhead cam engine with 12 valves, and that means that there are 2 intake and 1 exhaust valve per cylinder. The benefits of multi-valve engine technology is basically better breathing for the engine. With the traditional 2-valve per cylinder engine, there's 1 intake and 1 exhaust valve. By having 2 intake valves, we're able to get greater breathing for the engine. With greater breathing, we're able to get power and torque further up into the RPM ranges, thereby giving us greater horsepower.
The performance on this car is like having the greatest little sports car that the average person can afford. I love going fast, and it will go. And I don't have any problems with it passing people or curves or anything. It's great.
Storm 2+2 Coupe comes standard with a 5-speed overdrive transmission, overdrives in both 4th and 5th gear for better, smoother performance and better spacing of the gears. A low 1st gear for good acceleration, a tall 5th gear for better top speed and fuel economy, and evenly spaced ratios throughout for good, smooth performance.
The Storm utilizes a 4-wheel independent suspension with McPherson struts, and this is a strut for the rear of a Storm. And you can see it's basically a shock absorber with an integral coil spring. Now, as I said, we have 4-wheel independent suspension, which is something that you don't get in Toyota Paseo or the Mitsubishi Eclipse. They have a solid rear axle. And the benefits of the independent rear suspension are that as you go down the road and let's say the left wheel goes over a pothole, that whole shock input is absorbed by this unit. If you had a solid rear axle, the shock of the wheel moving would also be transferred to the other wheel because there's a solid axle connecting them.
Yeah, it handles really well.
The Geo Storm has a tighter turning diameter versus the Mitsubishi Eclipse by around 2 feet. And that allows us, as I said before, to get in and out of parking spaces and make U-turns with more ease.
Yeah, I could parallel park in it very well.
The Geo Storm also comes standard with a front ventilated disc braking system, which is usually found on a more expensive car.
And the vents are very important for the cooling of the brake unit. And that is very important for the function of the brake because the front brake generates a lot of heat in the stopping of the vehicle. And so by having the vents here, we can get better cooling and dissipate the heat that's generated, and that then minimizes brake fade as well as minimizing any chance for warpage of the rotor.
The people are attracted to the sleek, aerodynamic styling of the Storm. They see the car on the road. It's an exciting car to look at. If they come in here, they ask us about the car, and it looks beautiful. It's a pretty car.
I absolutely fell in love with it the first time I saw it. I've seen him on TV. I've seen him out on the streets, and I said that it's just a great looking car. It's sporty. I love sports. It's a sporty little car, and I said it's me.
Colors are very important to the Geo Storm buyer. For one thing, they want to stand out from the crowd and look a little different than the other cars going down the road. And Geo has offered a total of 8 colors in the Storm palette for them to choose from.
Well, what attracted me to it first was the color, of course, and then I looked at the sticker. It got good gas mileage. It looked really sharp.
The gauges are very easy to read on the Geo Storm. They are inset back into the binnacle, and they are shaded from any glare that would be coming from the windshield from the sun. In order to turn on your headlamps and in order to turn on your intermittent windshield wipers, all you do is put your fingers up here. They're very easy to reach while you're driving, and you don't even have to take your hands off the steering wheel.
The Geo Storm comes with a standard AM/FM stereo radio with 4 speakers, 2 front and 2 rear. Vehicles like the MX-3, however, do not come with a standard radio at all. You have to pay for it.
I'm really, really impressed at the sound that comes from the radio. It's good, and music is important to me. I listen to it all the time, so I like it.
The standard Scotch-guarded seats are contoured in such a way that it makes it comfortable for long trips, and of course they're fully reclinable seats as well.
In an internal survey of both the Geo Storm and many of its competitors, the Storm has done as well or better than some of these competitors in terms of seat comfort ratings.
Okay, let me demonstrate to you the hatch on the Geo Storm. The hydraulic prop rods will hold it up in place, unlike the Paseo, which has a tendency to fall down as you're bending over and working in the trunk of the car. Not many people realize that with this back seat folded down flat, you've got more room in the back seat of a Storm hatchback than you do in the trunk of a Caprice. Almost 22 cubic feet, and you can put a lot back here. You've got a handy little tie down over here to secure any of your belongings as you're going to be driving around. Your radio speakers are located in the back of the hatch. And one other feature that's very important, unlike a Camaro or even a Corvette, which only has 1 hook over here to secure its hatch, the Storm offers 2. So with this hatch down, it's secure, and you will never hear a rattle in the back of a Storm.
This car suits me. It does what I want it to do, and I can afford for it to do it.
On the standard engine, the 5-speed manual transmission on the Geo Storm, you've got 30 miles in the city and 36 miles on the highway. Good gas mileage.
The electronic control module, or the ECM, for the Storm is located in this area. And basically, it's the brain that runs the engine. It monitors a lot of functions in terms of water temperature, air temperature, etc. And it works closely with the Tech 1 system that we have at all our Chevrolet dealerships, where a technician can monitor codes that are generated by the ECM, so he can pinpoint exactly what it is that's wrong with the engine and the operation of the engine.
There's 4,100 Chevrolet Geo dealers across the country. That's more than the top 3 Japanese companies combined. So anywhere a Storm owner goes, they're going to be able to find a Chevrolet Geo dealership to go through for service or assistance.
I think what a salesperson needs to understand and be able to communicate to the customer is that the Geo brand, again, is an import alternative. And we've been developing our vehicles jointly between General Motors and the affiliates, all 3 affiliates that we deal with. These vehicles are manufactured in North America except for one of our products, and that's the Storm. All other products, the Prism, the Tracker, and the Metro, except for the Metro convertible, are manufactured in North America by Canadian auto workers or U.S. UAW workers. Therefore, all the labor and the monies that these individuals are earning go back into the economy in their locale, whether it's the United States or in Canada. Those customers that we deal with, that you're experiencing walking through your showroom door, are mainly young professional people in their early 20s who really don't have much money. They're looking for a sporty type vehicle that has some type of character that meet their import cues. And because of Geo, we're able to bring those customers in, and in hopes we're able to turn them back into Chevrolet buyers down the road when they get married, have bigger families, or need a different type of vehicle that Geo doesn't cover for them.
Add it up. Sporty style, outstanding quality, and a long list of standard features. Your Geo Storm has everything it takes to meet the competition head-on and win.
With Storm, you have the style, price, and value that the young, often first-time buyers in this market segment look for.
Now, in our shopping this month, we found that with the Eclipse, Mitsubishi tends to emphasize the value story.
The big key is value. They're noted for giving you a lot of value for the money. I mean, it's a fun car to sell. They have a wonderful reputation, great warranty. You get a lot for your money. And you don't get a lot for your money with some of the other cars. You get a name.
Demonstrating your value advantages, like exceptional fuel economy, a long-life exhaust system, and Scotchgard fabric protection, is a must when you're talking with these young buyers. While something sporty and fun to drive is likely to be at the top of their wish list, it's equally important for them to feel that they are making a smart buying decision.
When we shopped Paseo, we found the Toyota emphasized value too, but from a slightly different perspective.
3-year, 36,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty, 0 deductible, cover everything on the car.
No deductible, no transfer fees. So if you do decide to sell the car, at least the other person will still get the warranty.
Warranties, best in the industry. 36 months, 36,000 bumper-to-bumper, parts and labor, no deductible. 5 years unlimited on your outer body rust corrosion. Something that doesn't kill you on insurance, even though it looks sporty. Yeah, you got it here.
Toyota can't beat you here. You've got a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty with no deductible, and it's transferable at no cost. It even covers towing if the vehicle breaks down.
And Toyota doesn't offer anything like roadside assistance, which provides help on the road to Geo and Chevrolet owners 24 hours a day.
Another exclusive is Storm's standard driver's side airbag, which can mean an insurance discount for your customers.
The point here is, in this young buyer's market, it's essential that you take the time to explain features, functions, and benefits, because your competition sure will.
It's a sports car, and most sports cars were designed where the power was divested to the rear wheels. In Mitsubishi, they decided to go for the traction element, which is more beneficial to the driver. Instead of pushing you along like this, the power is divested to the front 2 wheels, so that way when you step on the accelerator, it pulls you along.
Now, on a multi-valve or 16-valve engine, this vehicle has 4 valves per cylinder, 2 exhaust and 2 intake. Anyways, it gives a smaller engine more intake and outtake. More gas can come in and go out. Anyway, it gives a smaller engine more power.
Your Geo Storm features multi-valve technology too. A 12-valve engine on the 2+2 Coupe and 16 valves on the GSI. Be sure to explain the benefits of multiple valves to your customers.
While it's essential for you to sell directly to buyer needs, it's also important to point out other features and benefits as well. Otherwise, your customer may assume that there are some things that you can't provide.
This is especially true when you're talking safety. While your Geo Storm is the only car in this segment to offer the driver's side airbag as standard equipment, your competitors have become experts at refocusing attention on all the other safety features they provide.
No, this particular one doesn't come with the air pack. What it has is the passive restraint system. It also has 5-mile-an-hour bumpers, which are wraparound, like I said before, in the back and as well as the front. The United States law mandates that you have to have 2.5-mile-an-hour bumpers, and this is twice the amount of that.
In the doors, they've got additional side beams in there to help siding collisions.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
And in the event of a front end or a rear end collision, the metal will fold across those what's called crumple zones, like an accordion plate. They'll just fold up like this.
Remember, your customer may be looking for a sporty car, but it may be something else that actually clinches the buying decision. And that's why it's so important to explain key features and advantages.
Focus on the complete safety story and present your driver's side airbag as a key advantage, because this definitely puts you one up on your competitors.
For safety, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of bragging to say about it. It's not unsafe, but it doesn't have an airbag.
I can't say I wish I didn't have an airbag. I mean, it doesn't. But we do a good job with the car. It's a well-built car.
You know, but if you're looking for safety, you ought to go with an airbag. Except try and find something with an airbag. They just don't offer them on the list. Don't ask me why. They do work.
Safety, quality, and advanced technology are the core of every Geo and Chevrolet product, and there's probably no better example of leading-edge technology and exacting quality standards in product, process, and manufacture than the Lumina APV. It's one of the most unique mass-produced vehicles built in America today.
One of the totally unique things about our vehicle is that we get the utility of the minivan and the drivability and pleasability of the car. And some of the little hidden things that people don't realize is the technology that went into it, bringing an all-plastic body that gives them the dent resistance and corrosion resistance that they don't really know they're getting, what's really there. Our basic vehicle construction is a space frame with applied plastic panels. Most of the components making up the space frame are made at our Parma facility outside of Cleveland, Ohio. All of the stampings are done there, as well as many of the major sub-assemblies. Our underbody is a ladder-type underbody construction. We depend on 2 longitudinal rails that run from the front to the rear of the vehicle to provide the structure, and then we put cross members forming a ladder that gives us the ultimate strength of that whole assembly. Once all the assemblies are received by Terrytown, they're brought into the body shop and married together in a station that we call ROVR. The ROVR system is one big fixture that does all of the welding at one station. The underbody assembly is brought in. The body side sub-assemblies that we receive from Parma are married to the underbody and brought in position. The roof headers and roof bows are added. And at that one point, at that single station for every vehicle, they're welded together and fixtured together. So we maintain very precise control. From there, the body comes back out and goes into our mill and drill station. There are 55 mill and drill blocks on the vehicle that precisely locate the composite panels. Once the body has been completed in the body shop, it's sent to the ELPO system. The ELPO is the electrical deposition of the primer coat, which gives us our first actual corrosion protection. The entire body is submerged in the ELPO tanks, and the primer itself is electrodeposited on the vehicle. The body then proceeds to our body panel assembly area. The panel assembly area is a hard automated area where the body sides are in lay-down fixtures. Adhesive is robotically applied. There's over 2,000 inches of adhesive on these panels. The panels are then brought to the vehicle and located dimensionally where they need to be, not where the body says it should be, but where they need to be. With the exception of the fender, all of the exterior panels, including the door, are made from SMC, that sheet molded compound. It gives us the dent resistance and corrosion protection that you don't get with steel that are on the other vehicles in the segment. The front fender, however, is made of polyurea rim, a much more flexible material. Once all the panels are applied, the vehicle then goes on to paint. In the paint area, we add a primer surfacer, and then we go through a low temperature paint bake and add the color coat and top coat. Another unique feature of our vehicle is the size of our windshield. Currently, it's the largest windshield glass in GM and probably in the automotive industry. One of the features on the glass, in order to ensure that we don't bake our customers, is it's solar coated. The coating on the windshield is actually a very thin metallic coating, about a molecule thick. And what this does, it prevents the heat rays from the sun from penetrating into the vehicle while at the same time not obstructing the vision from the inside of the vehicle. Another feature we could see on the vehicle is the instrument panel. The instrument panel is completely sub-assembled prior to installation in the vehicle. By that, we mean that all the components are added, all the electrical connections are made, and the final testing is done before it's brought to the vehicle, thereby eliminating any of the typical electrical problems that many other vehicles are experiencing with bad connections and whatever. So we've got a complete quality unit installed in the vehicle prior to the installation. As you can see from the basic construction of our vehicle with the space frame and the composite panels and the high tolerances that we put on both the assemblies, the sub-assemblies, and the final assembly, we end up with a vehicle that gives us the state-of-the-art technology driving us into the 90s.
Knowing your product is probably your most important selling tool. So be sure to take some time to review your Geo and passenger car product training videos and selling guides to refresh your product knowledge.
That wraps up this edition of Inside Track. Tune in next month when we look at the research, design, and engineering of total safety systems in your Chevrolet and Geo products, and find out how we stack up against other manufacturers.
And between now and then, take a few moments to send us your suggestions and ideas about Inside Track. Fill out the response card in the videotape package and enter our prize giveaway.
Or write to Inside Track, Chevrolet Motor Division, Post Office Box 9065, Warren, Michigan, 480909065.
Thanks for joining us. See you next month.